First contact and betrayal. The gleaming spires of New Geneva stretched towards the sky, a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity. Dr. Elena Reyes stood at the window of her office in the United Earth Government building, her dark eyes fixed on the bustling spaceport in the distance. Today was a day that would change everything. Dr. Reyes, they're ready for you in the conference room. Her assistant's voice crackled through the intercom. Elena smoothed her crisp blue uniform and took a deep breath. As Earth's lead xenolinguist and cultural specialist, she had been preparing for this moment her entire life. First contact with an alien civilization was no longer the stuff of science fiction. It was about to become reality. The conference room was a hive of activity when Elena entered. Military officials, scientists, and government representatives from around the world sat in tense silence as holographic displays flickered to life, showing the approach of the alien vessel. Fleet Admiral Junichiro Tanaka, a stern-faced man with salt and pepper hair, nodded to Elena as she took her seat. Dr. Reyes, are you prepared for the initial communication attempt? As ready as I'll ever be, Admiral, Elena replied, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. The room fell silent as the alien ship, a sleek, silver craft that seemed to shimmer like liquid mercury, came to a stop in high Earth orbit. A transmission crackled through the speakers, filled with a series of clicks, whistles, and low humming tones. Elena's fingers flew over her console, the universal translation matrix she had developed working overtime to decipher the alien language. After several tense minutes, words began to form on the screen before her. Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Zarkonian Empire, and we come in peace. A collective sigh of relief swept through the room. Elena's translation matrix had worked, and the aliens, the Zarkonians, seemed peaceful. Over the next few hours, Elena led the communication efforts, learning that the Zarkonians were part of a vast galactic alliance of species spanning multiple star systems. In the weeks that followed, Earth was abuzz with excitement. The Zarkonians shared glimpses of advanced technology that promised to solve many of humanity's problems: clean energy, advanced medicine, and faster-than-light travel. In return, Earth offered its own unique innovations and cultural treasures. Elena found herself at the forefront of these exchanges, working closely with the Zarkonian cultural attaché, a tall, elegant being named Zalther. His iridescent scales shimmered in the sunlight as they walked through the gardens of the newly established Galactic Embassy in New Geneva. Your species has achieved much in such a short time, Elena, Zalther remarked, his multifaceted eyes taking in the lush Earth vegetation. The Alliance is eager to welcome humanity into our fold. Elena beamed with pride. We're honored to join the galactic community, Zalther. There's so much we can learn from each other. But not everyone on Earth was as enthusiastic about the new alliance. Admiral Tanaka, in particular, remained cautious. In a secure meeting with Earth's top military brass, he voiced his concerns. We're moving too fast, Tanaka argued, his fist coming down on the polished oak table. We know nothing about the true intentions of the Zarkonians or this galactic alliance. We need to be prepared for any eventuality. Defense Minister Olivia Chen leaned forward, her expression thoughtful. What do you propose, Admiral? Tanaka's eyes gleamed with determination. Operation Shadow Fleet. We continue to publicly embrace the alliance, but secretly, we accelerate our own military advancements. We'll incorporate what we learn from the Zarkonians, but develop our own unique technologies as well. The room was silent for a moment before Minister Chen nodded slowly. Do it, but this stays between us. Not a word to anyone, not even the civilian government. As humanity took its first steps into the galactic community, Operation Shadow Fleet began in utmost secrecy. Hidden shipyards in asteroid belts and beneath the surfaces of uninhabited moons churned out vessels that incorporated both human ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien tech. Months passed, and Earth flourished under its new alliance. Trade routes were established, and human colonies began to spread to nearby star systems. Elena's universal translator became the standard for interspecies communication, earning her accolades across the galaxy. But beneath the surface of this golden age, tensions were brewing. Admiral Tanaka's network of spies began to uncover disturbing patterns in Zarkonian behavior. Resource shipments to Earth colonies were delayed. Promised technological upgrades were perpetually postponed, and strange energy readings were detected on the fringes of human space. On a crisp autumn morning, exactly 1 Earth year after first contact, everything changed. Elena was woken by the blaring of emergency sirens. She rushed to the UAG command center, her heart pounding. The scene that greeted her was one of chaos and disbelief. Holographic displays showed feeds from human colonies across 3 star systems. They were under attack. Zarkonian warships, far more numerous and advanced than anything they had revealed to Earth, rained destruction upon human settlements. Admiral Tanaka burst into the room, his uniform disheveled, but his eyes blazing with a fierce determination. "It was all a ruse," he growled. "They were studying us, learning our weaknesses, and now they struck." Minister Chen, her face ashen, turned to Tanaka. "What do we do? We're outgunned, outmatched." A ghost of a smile played on Tanaka's lips. "Not quite, Minister. Operation Shadow Fleet is ready. We may not match them in numbers, but we have a few surprises of our own." Elena watched in awe as Tanaka activated a secure channel. "This is Admiral Tanaka. Initiate Operation Thunderbolt. All Shadow Fleet vessels deploy immediately." Across the solar system and beyond, hidden doors slid open in asteroids and moons. Sleek, angular ships, unlike anything the Zarkonians had seen, emerged from their secret berths. At their head was the UES Defiant, Tanaka's flagship, a marvel of human engineering and alien-inspired technology. As reports of the surprise counterattack flooded in, Elena felt a mix of horror at the betrayal and pride in humanity's resilience. The Shadow Fleet, though outnumbered, was holding its own against the Zarkonian forces. Human ingenuity and the element of surprise were turning the tide. In the midst of the chaos, Elena's console lit up with an incoming transmission. It was from Zalathur, the Zarkonian she had come to consider a friend. His usual composure was gone, replaced by shock and what appeared to be genuine remorse. "Elena, I swear I knew nothing of this," Zalathur's voice crackled through the speakers. "There's a faction within our empire, extremists who believe in Zarkonian supremacy. They've taken control, but not all of us support this madness." Elena's mind raced. Could this be another deception, or was there hope for allies even among the Zarkonians? She locked eyes with Admiral Tanaka, silently conveying the gravity of this communication. Tanaka nodded grimly. "Tell him we'll listen, but our priority is protecting our people. If there are Zarkonians who oppose this attack, now's the time to prove it." As Elena relayed the message, the battle raged on. Human colonies fought desperately against the Zarkonian onslaught, while the Shadow Fleet pushed back with a ferocity that caught the attackers off guard. In the skies above New Geneva, the UES Defiant engaged the Zarkonian flagship in a spectacular display of advanced weaponry and tactics. Tanaka's voice rang out clear and strong over the comms. "This is humanity's moment. We will not go quietly into the night. We fight for our right to live, to exist. Today, we declare our independence from tyranny, our refusal to be conquered. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity stands strong." The battle was far from over, but as the first day of the war came to a close, one thing was clear. Humanity had survived its trial by fire. The road ahead would be long and fraught with danger, but Earth had proven it was a force to be reckoned with in the cosmic arena. Elena looked out at the stars, now battlefield ablaze with the flashes of weapons fire, and knew that the universe would never be the same. Humanity's journey to the stars had begun with hope and wonder, only to be baptized in the fires of war. But from those flames, a stronger, more united human race would emerge. ready to take its place among the stars, not as supplicants, but as equals. The age of innocence was over. The real test of humanity's place in the galaxy had just begun. The counter-strike. The war room of the UES, defiant, hummed with tension as Admiral Junichiro Tanaka stood before a holographic display of the battlefront. 2 weeks had passed since the Zarkonian betrayal, and humanity was still reeling from the initial assault. But they were far from defeated. Status report, Tanaka barked, his eyes never leaving the swerving mass of red and blue indicators representing Zarkonian and human forces. Colonel Sarah Hendricks, a battle-hardened veteran with close-cropped silver hair, stepped forward. "Sir, we've managed to stabilize our defenses in the Alpha Centauri and Tau Ceti systems. The Shadow Fleet's stealth technology has been crucial in evening the odds." Tanaka nodded grimly. The ships of Operation Shadow Fleet, with their advanced cloaking devices and unconventional weapon systems, had been the salvation of many human colonies. But it wasn't enough. They needed to take the fight to the enemy. "What about Project Gordian?" Tanaka asked, turning to Dr. Alexander Volkov, the lead scientist of Earth's most secretive weapons development program. Volkov, a wiry man with wild gray hair and intense blue eyes, allowed himself a small smile. "It's ready, Admiral. The quantum entanglement cannon has passed all simulations. We're prepared for a field test." A ripple of excitement passed through the assembled officers. The quantum entanglement cannon, or QEC, was humanity's trump card, a weapon that could potentially turn the tide of the war. Tanaka's eyes gleamed with determination. "Excellent. It's time we showed the Zarkonians that humanity is not to be trifled with. Colonel Hendricks, prepare a strike team. We're taking the fight to their doorstep." As the war room burst into activity, Dr. Elena Reyes watched from a corner, her heart heavy. The diplomat in her mourned the breakdown of peace, but she knew there was no going back. Her universal translator, once a tool of unity, had become a vital instrument of war, decrypting Zarkonian communications and coordinating with a handful of alien allies who had sided with Earth. Elena's thoughts were interrupted by a gentle hand on her shoulder. She turned to see Zalthar, the Zarkonian defector who had become Earth's most valuable intelligence asset. "You seem troubled, Elena," Zalthar said, his multifaceted eyes reflecting concern. Elena sighed. "I can't help but wonder if there was something more we could have done to prevent this war." Zalthar's scales rippled in what Elena had come to recognize as a gesture of sympathy. "The fault lies with the supremacist faction of my people, not with humanity. Your species has shown remarkable resilience and ingenuity. It's why I chose to stand with Earth." Their conversation was cut short as Admiral Tanaka approached. "Dr. Reyes, Zalthar, we need your expertise for the upcoming operation. The success of our counter-strike depends on accurate intelligence and flawless communication." As the Defiant and its escort of Shadow Fleet vessels prepare for their daring assault, news of the impending operation spread through the human colonies like wildfire. After weeks of desperate defense, humanity was finally taking the fight to the enemy. In the shipyards of Mars, engineers worked around the clock to outfit the strike force with the latest advancements. Plasma shields, reverse-engineered from scattered bits of Zarkonian technology and enhanced by human innovation, were installed on key vessels. Stealth systems were fine-tuned to evade even the most sensitive alien sensors. The crown jewel of the fleet was the QEC, mounted on the Defiant itself. The massive weapon looked like a tangle of exotic alloys and pulsing energy conduits, a testament to the fusion of theoretical physics and engineering prowess. As the Earth forces prepared for their counter-strike, political tremors shook the Galactic Alliance. News of the Zarkonian betrayal and Earth's surprising resilience had spread, causing many alien races to reassess their positions. In an emergency session of the Galactic Council, broadcast across known space, accusations flew. The Volux, a race of silicon-based life forms known for their logical approach, were particularly vocal. The Zarkonian Empire has violated the most sacred tenets of our alliance. The Volux representative's translated voice rang out. Furthermore, they have grossly underestimated the humans, a species that has demonstrated remarkable adaptability and technological prowess. Other races joined in, some condemning the Zarkonians, others calling for caution. Earth's unexpected reveal of advanced military technology had sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Some viewed humanity with newfound respect, while others feared the potential of this young, warlike species. Amidst the political chaos, Admiral Tanaka's strike force made its move. Using intelligence provided by Zelther and other sympathetic aliens, the human fleet plotted a course for the heart of Zarkonian military power, the Nyx Nebula, home to their largest shipyards and weapons research facilities. The journey pushed the limits of human FTL technology. Dr. Volkov and his team worked tirelessly to keep the experimental drive stable as they penetrated deeper into enemy territory than any human ships had gone before. Finally, after a tense week of travel, they arrived at the edge of the Nyx Nebula. The swirling gases and intense radiation provided the perfect cover for the Shadow Fleet's approach. On the bridge of the Defiant, Admiral Tanaka surveyed the battlefield. All ships maintain stealth protocols, weapon systems on standby. We strike hard and fast. Elena stood at her station, coordinating with Zelther to interpret the chatter of Zarkonian communications. Suddenly, her eyes widened. Admiral, we're picking up an encoded transmission. It's not like anything we've seen before. Zelther leaned in, his scales paling. By the cosmic core, it can't be. What is it? Tanaka demanded. Zelther's voice was grim. It's a communication protocol used only by the highest echelons of Zarkonian leadership. They're discussing something called Project Omega, a superweapon capable of destroying entire star systems. A hushed silence fell over the bridge. The stakes had just gotten higher than anyone had imagined. Tanaka's jaw clenched. Can you pinpoint the source of the transmission? Elena and Zelther worked feverishly, triangulating the signal. Got it, Elena announced. It's coming from a heavily fortified research station deep within the nebula. Then that's our primary target, Tanaka declared. All ships prepare for combat. Today, we not only strike back for Earth, but we may well be saving the entire galaxy. As if on cue, alarms blared across the ship. Multiple Zarkonian signatures detected. The sensor officer shouted, "They spotted us." So much for the element of surprise, Tanaka growled. All ships, attack pattern Delta. Colonel Hendricks, you have weapons free. Let's show them what humanity can do. The nebula erupted in a dazzling display of weapons fire. Human ships, their stealth covers blown, unleashed a barrage of advanced weaponry. Plasma beams sliced through Zarkonian shields, while swarms of air-guided missiles found gaps in enemy formations. The Zarkonians, caught off guard by the humans' sudden appearance so deep in their territory, scrambled to mount a defense. But years of easy victories had made them complacent, and they were unprepared for the ferocity and tactical brilliance of Tanaka's assault. On the Defiance Bridge, Tanaka watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. Status of the QEC. Charged and ready, sir, Dr. Volkov reported, his fingers dancing over the weapon's controls. Target the research station, Tanaka ordered. Let's put an end to this Project Omega before it begins. The Defiance hull thrummed as the quantum entanglement cannon powered up. A beam of pure energy, twisted in ways that defied conventional physics, lanced out across space. It struck the Zarkonian research station dead center, enveloping it in a sphere of scintillating light. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, in a spectacle that would be remembered for generations, the station simply unraveled. Its very atoms came apart, scattered across space-time by the awesome power of the QEC. Direct hit, Hendricks exclaimed. The station is. It's just gone, sir. Diplomacy and espionage. The grand chamber of the Galactic Alliance headquarters on Nexus Prime buzzed with tension. Representatives from 100 species filled the tiered seats, their attention fixed on the central podium where Dr. Elena Reyes stood, poised and determined. This was humanity's moment to plead its case before the stars. Esteemed members of the Alliance, Elena began, her voice carrying clearly thanks to her universal translator. We come before you not as conquerors, but as defenders. The recent conflict with the Zarkonian Empire was not of our choosing, but we have proven that humanity will not bow to tyranny or aggression. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. The humans' decisive victory in the Nix Nebula had sent shockwaves across the galaxy. Some viewed Earth with newfound respect, others with trepidation. The Volux representative, a crystalline being that shimmered with internal light, spoke up. Dr. Reyes, while we condemn the Zarkonian aggression, many in the Alliance are concerned about the advanced weaponry Earth revealed during the conflict. How can we be assured that humanity will not become the very threat it claims to stand against? Elena took a deep breath, weighing her words carefully. Distinguished representative, Earth developed its defenses out of necessity, not ambition. We seek peaceful coexistence, but we will not leave ourselves vulnerable. We propose a new era of open cooperation and mutual defense among all peaceful races. As Elena continued her address, light years away, a very different scene was unfolding. In the shadowy underbelly of Crux Station, a notorious hive of intergalactic smugglers and information brokers, Colonel Sarah Hendricks moved with purposeful stealth. Gone was her military uniform, replaced by the nondescript attire of spacer down on their luck. Her mission, authorized by Admiral Tanaka himself, was clear: gather intelligence on the Zarkonian superweapon project, codenamed Omega. Hendricks' contact, a reptilian infobroker known only as Sizzle, waited in a dimly lit booth. As she slid into the seat across from him, Sizzle's forked tongue flicked out, tasting the air. "You're either brave or foolish to come here, human," Sizzle hissed. "Half the galaxy's bounty hunters are looking for your kind." Hendricks smirked. "Good thing I'm not the kind they're looking for. You have something for me." Sizzle produced a data crystal, its facets glowing faintly. Omega isn't just a weapon. It's a fundamental restructuring of reality itself. The Zarkonians are playing with forces beyond their comprehension. As credits and information changed hands, neither Hendricks nor Sizzle noticed the hooded figure watching from the shadows, its 4 eyes narrowed with interest. Back on Earth, Admiral Tanaka paced the war room of the UAG headquarters. Holographic displays showed the disposition of human forces across 3 star systems, bolstered by a handful of alien allies who had thrown in their lot with Earth. "He diplomatic offensive is crucial," Tanaka mused, addressing his senior staff. "But we can't put all our eggs in one basket. Dr. Volkov, what's the status of Project Prometheus?" Dr. Alexander Volkov, looking even more disheveled than usual, pulled up a schematic of what looked like a massive space station. "The framework is nearly complete, Admiral. Once operational, Prometheus will serve as both a forward operating base and a mobile shipyard. It's our insurance policy if Earth itself comes under attack." Tanaka nodded grimly. "Good. We'll need every advantage we can get. The Zarkonians won't take their defeat lying down." As if summoned by his words, alarms blared throughout the complex. A junior officer burst into the room, face pale. "Sir, we've detected a Zarkonian probe in the Kuiper Belt. It self-destructed before we could intercept, but, sir, it was emitting tachyon pulses consistent with faster-than-light communication." A heavy silence fell over the room. The implications were clear. The Zarkonians were preparing for another assault, potentially with their superweapon. Tanaka's voice was steel. "Inform all commands. We're at DEFCON 2, and get me a secure line to our team on Nexus Prime. The diplomats need to know what we're up against." As Earth's military machines spun up to meet the looming threat, unexpected allies were emerging from the cosmic woodwork. On the lush world of Verdana, home to the chlorophyll-based Florans, an unlikely meeting was taking place. Zulthar, the Zarkonian defector, stood before the Floran High Council, his iridescent scales a stark contrast to the leafy greens of his hosts. Honorable elders, Zulthar began, his translator conveying the gravity in his tone. I come to you on behalf of not just Earth, but all races who value freedom and self-determination. The faction controlling my people's empire seeks to remake the galaxy in their image. We must stand united against this threat. The Floran elders rustled, their leaf-like appendages swaying as they communicated through a complex language of pheromones and bioluminescence. Finally, the eldest spoke, her words translated into a melodic whisper. For eons, we Florans have tended our gardens, content to let the storms of galactic politics pass us by. But even the wisest gardener knows that some weeds must be uprooted lest they choke the entire garden. We will join your coalition, Zulthar of Earth. As news of the Floran decision spread, other races began to reconsider their neutrality. The humans' willingness to stand against the Zarkonian threat, combined with their surprising technological prowess, was reshaping the political landscape of the galaxy. But with growing influence came growing pains. On Earth, debates raged over the future of human society in a galactic context. In the sprawling arcology of New Shanghai, Dr. Elena Reyes found herself facing a skeptical audience of academics and policymakers. The Galactic Alliance offers us unprecedented opportunities, Elena argued passionately. Access to technologies that could solve our energy crisis, cure diseases, even reverse climate change. We can't afford to isolate ourselves out of fear. A stern-faced senator countered, and at what cost, Dr. Reyes? We've already seen how quickly alien friendship can turn to betrayal. How much of our humanity are we willing to sacrifice to fit into their galactic community? The debate raged on, a microcosm of the soul-searching happening across human space. As a species that had only recently reached for the stars, humanity was now forced to grapple with its place in a vast and often hostile universe. Meanwhile, in the top-secret facilities of Project Prometheus, human and alien scientists worked side by side, pushing the boundaries of known physics. The massive space station took shape in high orbit around Jupiter, its modular design incorporating technologies from a dozen worlds. Dr. Volkov, overseeing a particularly delicate phase of construction, allowed himself a moment of awe. You know, he mused to his Volux colleague, a year ago, I would have said this was impossible. Now look at us, building a mobile fortress that can outrun light itself. The Volux scientist's crystalline form pulsed with what might have been amusement. You humans have a remarkable ability to achieve the impossible, Dr. Volkov. It's both inspiring and, frankly, a little terrifying. Volkov chuckled. Well, let's hope it's terrifying enough to give the Zarkonians pause. But even as humanity reached new heights, dark clouds gathered on the horizon. In the depths of Zarkonian space, on a planet hidden from prying eyes, the architects of Project Omniva toiled. In a vast underground chamber, a device of mind-bending complexity pulsed with otherworldly energies. Zarkonian scientists, their eyes glowing with an almost religious fervor, made final adjustments to what they believed would be the instrument of their ultimate victory. High above, in a shielded observation room, the supreme archon of the Zarkonian Empire watched with cold satisfaction. The humans and their allies think they have won a great victory, he mused to his advisors. Little do they know, they have only hastened their own demise. Soon, we will unleash a power that will remake the very fabric of the cosmos. As if in answer to his ominous words, the device below flared to life, its energies twisting space-time itself. For a brief moment, reality seemed to hiccup, and in that instant, the Archon saw visions of possible futures, worlds remade in Zarkonian image, and worlds burning in cleansing fire. But there was something else, a future he hadn't anticipated. A blue-green world, standing defiant against the storm, its people reaching out to the stars not in conquest, but in unity. The Archon's eyes narrowed. The humans were a greater threat than he had realized, not just to Zarkonian supremacy, but to the very ideology that underpinned their empire. "Accelerate the timetable," he commanded. "We strike at the heart of Earth before their coalition can grow any stronger." As the orders went out, ripples of quantum disturbance spread across the galaxy, faint, almost undetectable, but a harbinger of the cataclysm to come. On Earth, in the quiet of her office, Elena Reyes felt a sudden chill, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. She looked out at the stars, usually a source of wonder and hope, and for the first time felt a creeping dread. The greatest test of humanity's resolve and ingenuity was approaching. The fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy hung in the balance. As the pieces moved into place for the final confrontation, one question burned in the minds of humans and aliens alike. In the face of a power that could reshape reality itself, what hope did they have? The answer, as it always had been, lay in the indomitable spirit of humanity and the unlikely allies they had found among the stars. The stage was set for a battle that would echo across the cosmos for eons to come. The Zarkonian Gambit. The serene beauty of Novaterra, humanity's farthest colony, shattered in an instant. The sky turned an impossible shade of violet, reality itself seeming to warp and twist. In the colony's main plaza, Dr. Elena Reyes watched in horror as buildings began to dissolve, their very atoms coming apart in swirling vortexes of energy. "It's happening," she whispered into her emergency transmitter. "God help us, they've done it." Across the galaxy, on the bridge of the UES Defiant, Admiral Tanaka received Elena's transmission with grim resolve. The holograms surrounding him showed similar scenes of devastation unfolding on a dozen worlds along the front lines of human space. "Status report," Tanaka barked, his voice cutting through the chaos on the bridge. Colonel Hendricks, her face ashen, stepped forward. "Sir, the Zarkonians have deployed Omega. It's worse than we imagined. They're not just destroying worlds, they're unmaking them at the quantum level." Dr. Volkov, looking as if he had aged years in minutes, added, "The effect is spreading, Admiral. If we don't find a way to stop it, it could engulf the entire sector, maybe even the galaxy." Tanaka's jaw clenched. This was the moment they had feared, the ultimate test of humanity's resolve. "Get me a secure line to all our allies, and prep that HFY. We're not going down without a fight." As the Defiant and its battle group raced towards the heart of the conflict, the political landscape of the galaxy erupted into chaos. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Alliance convened an emergency session, the chamber filled with panicked shouts and accusations. The Volux representatives' crystalline form pulsed with agitation. "The Zarkonians have gone too far. This weapon of theirs threatens the very fabric of our reality. We must unite to stop them." But unity was far from assured. The Druthi, a race of energy beings known for their isolationist policies, countered and risked bringing this devastation to our own worlds. Perhaps it would be wiser to seal off the affected sectors and contain the damage. As the debate raged, Zalther, the Zarkonian defector, stepped onto the central platform. His scales had lost their luster, his eyes heavy with the weight of his people's crimes. "Esteemed members of the Alliance," he began, his voice carrying the sorrow of millennia, "I come before you not as a representative of the Zarkonian Empire, but as a citizen of the galaxy. What my people have unleashed threatens us all. We cannot stand idly by. We must act, and act now, or there will be no galaxy left to save." His words hung in the air, a moment of silence stretching into eternity. Then, slowly, representatives began to nod. Alliances were forged in that chamber, old grudges set aside in the face of annihilation. The galaxy was going to war. Back on Earth, in the depths of a hardened bunker beneath the Himalayas, humanity's greatest minds worked feverishly to find a counter to the Omega weapon. Dr. Elena Reyes, having narrowly escaped the destruction of Novaterra, stood at the heart of the effort, coordinating teams of human and alien scientists. "The key is in the quantum signature," Elena explained, gesturing to a holographic model of subatomic particles twisting in impossible ways. Omega doesn't just destroy matter, it rewrites the laws of physics themselves. If we can find a way to stabilize local space-time. Her words were cut short by a commotion at the entrance to the lab. To everyone's shock, a Zarkonian in full battle armor strode in, flanked by human security forces. Elena's hand went to the sidearm at her hip, but she froze when she recognized the Zarkonian's face. "Sulfur, what are you doing here?" The Zarkonian's multifaceted eyes swept the room before settling on Elena. "I bring knowledge, Dr. Reyes, the key to stopping Omega, and perhaps saving both our peoples." As Zalithar shared the closely guarded secrets of Zarkonian superscience, a plan began to take shape. It was audacious, perhaps even insane, but it was the best hope for the galaxy. The Defiant shuddered as it plunged through the maelstrom of warped spacetime surrounding the Zarkonian homeworld. Tanaka's voice cut through the chaos. "All ships, fall back. Get clear of the blast radius." But Elena knew there would be no outrunning this. As the Omega device began to implode, taking the Zarkonian homeworld with it, she closed her eyes and thought of Earth, of all they had fought to protect. A blinding light engulfed everything, and then silence. Elena opened her eyes, blinking in confusion. The bridge of the Defiant was intact, the stars outside twinkling peacefully. "Status report," Tanaka demanded, his voice hoarse. I don't believe it," the science officer stammered. "The Zarkonian fleet is gone. The Omega effect has been neutralized. We did it." A cheer went up across the bridge, quickly spreading to the entire fleet. Elena sagged in relief, tears streaming down her face as the enormity of their victory sank in. As the Allied ships regrouped, assessing the aftermath of the battle, Elena gazed out at the stars. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. The galaxy, the very fabric of reality, was safe. But as reports began to come in from across known space, detailing the changes wrought by their desperate gambit, Elena knew that their greatest challenge still lay ahead. They had won the war, but now they would have to win the peace, and shape the future of a galaxy forever changed by the events of this day. The Defiant turned towards home, leading a fleet of heroes from a dozen worlds. As Earth grew larger in the viewscreen, Elena allowed herself a small smile. Whatever challenges awaited them, they would face them together, united by the bonds forged in the crucible of their greatest trial. The end and a new beginning. Last edited, just no alarms blared across the ship as reality itself seemed to twist and buckle around them. "Shields at 60% and falling," shouted the tactical officer. "The Omega effect is interfering with our systems." Elena gripped her console, her eyes fixed on the readouts from Prometheus. "We need to get closer," she said through gritted teeth. "The countermeasure won't work unless we're within the eye of the storm." Admiral Tanaka nodded grimly. "You heard the doctor. All ships, push forward. Concentrate fire on their outer defenses. We need to clear a path for Prometheus." The battle raged across a canvas of distorted stars. Allied ships danced and weaved through impossible geometries, their weapons lashing out against Zarkonian vessels that seemed to phase in and out of existence. Dr. Volkov's voice crackled over the comm, strained but determined. "Elena, we're seeing cascade failures in the primary resonance chamber. We might only get one shot at this." "Understood," Elena replied, her fingers flying over the controls. "Recalibrating the phase variance. Admiral, we need to be at least 20% closer to the Omega device." Tanaka's face was a mask of concentration as he coordinated the fleet's movements. "Prometheus is taking heavy fire. We're losing our screening ships fast." Suddenly, a massive Zarkonian dreadnought materialized directly in their path, its hull writhing with tendrils of Omega energy. "Evasive maneuvers," Tanaka shouted, but it was too late. The dreadnought fired, a beam of pure unreality lancing towards the Defiant. Time seemed to slow as Elena watched the beam approach, knowing that if it hit, their mission and the fate of the universe would be lost. In that moment, a sleek ship of crystalline design intercepted the beam, its hull shattering in a dazzling display of refracted energy. "This is Captain Zixtal of the Volux Consortium," a new voice rang out. "We will buy you the time you need, humans, for the future of all." The Volux fleet surged forward, their ships creating a living shield of light and crystal before the Defiant and Prometheus. "Now, Doctor," Tanaka commanded. Elena's hands flew across the controls, initiating the countermeasure. Prometheus began to glow, pulsing with energies that defied comprehension. "Omega levels are fluctuating," Volkov reported, his voice filled with a mixture of terror and excitement. "It's working. By all that's holy, it's actually working." The fabric of space-time around them began to ripple and tear. Elena felt a pressure building behind her eyes as reality itself seemed to scream in protest. "We're losing containment," she shouted. "The reaction is spreading faster than we predicted."